Hello everybody, and welcome to my September TBR. I'm really excited because this is a big TBR. Sorry, the light is killing me right now, but this is the only time I can film today because I work later. But yeah, this is quite a large TBR, and a lot of these books, some of them I've been putting off, some of them are quite large, so I don't know how many I'm gonna get through. Also, besides this TBR, I'm going to be filming probably through this month and next month, and I'm going to do TikTok Pick My TBR. It's only going to be books that I already have. I'm trying to be good at not buying a bunch of books. But at some point, I'm also going to be reading 4 of Colleen Hoover's top books because I'm sick of seeing them on TikTok. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And I keep having to say, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that. I'm still not going to read that. Because that's what happens in the video. Like, I've already filmed part of the video, and it's just constant Colleen Hoover, and I'm like, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read Colleen Hoover. I'm not gonna read her because I have no interest in her books. But guess what? I'm sick of seeing it. I'd rather go through and see, like, I hated it, I hated it, I hated it, I hated it, or be proven wrong and say that I liked it. That could be awesome. So I'm gonna be doing that later, so make sure you subscribe to my channel to see those later. But today, we are doing my generic TBR, because I'm not including any of those on here because I don't know how long they're gonna take to read. But we are doing, I feel like this is a good TBR. I feel like it's a good one. It has some books, like I said, that I've been putting off. It's got some new releases. Yeah, so we're gonna get right to it. First is a book I'm gonna be reading with my husband, and it's Into Thin Air. Both of us are hugely obsessed with watching documentaries about climbing, and I haven't read this yet. He actually has read it, but it was like 10 years ago for, oh gosh, it would be 15 by now. Oh gosh, we're so old. He read this in like high school. So he's like, let's read it together. And I found it on Book of the Month. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. We've already started it. Really enjoying it so far. It's a lot of information. If you are interested in Everest and the 1996 disaster, you should read this book. It's really good so far. And he was actually there for the 1996 Everest disaster. So it's a very firsthand experience, very well researched, and he's like a journalist. So he's very good with information and writing. So it's very interesting so far. Next, we have a book that I've actually been putting off since I bought it, which is a surprise, but I'm one of those people who has a really hard time finishing series and duologies because I don't want them to end, especially if I really like them. And this is All of Our Demise, and it is the first book in the All of Us Villains series. So this is the first book, read it 5 stars, loved it, have a review for it. And I am currently trying to read this one, but I keep putting it off. I've read like the first chapter and I already love it, but I don't want it to end, so I keep putting it off, but I need to read it. I need to read it. We're gonna read it. The next book that I have on my list is The Final Gambit. Okay, so this is the Inheritance series. If you haven't heard about it, you must be living under a rock. This is the third and I think final book. I think it's the final one. I really hope it's the final one. Please be the final one. I think it's the final one, but I don't trust her because she has a series that has like 5 or 6 books in it. So I think it's the last one. But basically this follows a girl who inherited billions of dollars from a billionaire who she doesn't even know. And she goes to the estate and her sister accompanies her because her sister is like her guardian. And the terms of the will are that she has to live in the billionaire's house for, I think, a year, and then the money is hers. The grandsons and obviously the family are pissed because they're super spoiled, rich, really didn't get anything compared to what they thought they were getting in his will, and they're trying to figure out why he picked this random girl. So this is the 3rd book, so a lot has happened. I loved the first one. I think I gave the first one like a 5. Did not like the second one because of the love triangle. It was very confusing. It felt like one of the characters felt like they turned into a different person. It was like she changed her mind about a character and turned them into a totally different person. So I'm gonna see how they deal with that in this book. So I'm still excited, but we're gonna see how long that excitement lasts. The next book that I'm reading is From Below by Darcy Coates. This is actually my first big read of the month. I've already read, how far am I now? 138 pages. I'm really enjoying this one. It's really long, and I feel like it doesn't need to be that long. It's definitely kind of a slog, but it's good at the same time because it's this creeping sense of dread. So basically this group of explorers is a a weird term. It's a group of people who've come together to explore a wreck of the ship called the Arcadia that mysteriously disappeared. It had very strange mayday calls. No one was able to find it, and it was finally found like in 300 miles from where it was supposed to be, something like that. And you're getting current day stuff, which is they're diving down there. It's a big dive team with a marine biologist, kind of a TV personality. Yeah, so they're going down, getting into the ship, and they're finding some weird stuff in the ship. And you're also getting the point of view from being on the ship in like the 20s, because it's been disappeared for like 100 years, and or whenever this book came out. I don't know when the year is for this. Yeah, so you're also getting the point of view from people inside the ship, and weird stuff is happening before the ship sinks. So it's really good, and it's definitely this sense of dread, and it's creepy. It's a good job. If you haven't heard of Darcy Coates, she's kind of like Gabby Reed said it best, but she's kind of like cozy horror. So you never expect that bad of things to happen in her books. I've read, I think this is gonna be my third one, I can't remember. But nothing really that bad happens, but she's really good with atmosphere and character development. So I'm really enjoying this so far. I do think it's a bit long, but we're getting through it. The next book that I hope to read is kind of one of my hopefuls. Like, we'll see if we actually get to it. But it is Empress Crowned in Red, and it is the Fairy Loot edition if you haven't seen it. And I actually decently liked the first one, which is Steeped in Gold. It was very confusing, and they're very long. Like, this is 700 pages. It is a smaller book, but it's still over 700 pages. It's very complicated and convoluted, and it definitely felt in the first book like there was probably a third of the book she didn't need in there, because part of it seemed like she repeated it. But I really enjoyed it otherwise. It follows two women, one who is like part of the current regime, and she's like the daughter of the queen or whatever, the Doyen. And then you have, oh, I hit the gnat. I forgot I'm in a different video. I'm filming multiple videos in a day because that's normally how I get through these. I have a gnat that shows up in every video, but I never see it otherwise unless I'm filming. So I don't know if it's the light that it's attracted to. God, I just looked in the light. Now I can't see. But I just smacked it. So we're gonna have to name him because he's gonna be in every video. So the other main character is the daughter of the previous like regime, and she was in prison, her people in prison, her parents are dead, and she's basically trying to take over. And so it's them fighting, and I find it really interesting because sometimes they have to team up against greater evil, but then they break their promises when stuff gets better. It's very political intrigue heavy, and it can be very confusing because they're very long and it's hard to keep track sometimes of what's going on. And there's a lot of characters that aren't necessarily important, but they still name and bring up. So I'm definitely gonna have an interesting time getting back into this book. I think this is just a duology. Oh, all this is a sequel. It doesn't say ending, so I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna be a trilogy or just a duology, but we're gonna try to get to this one. I don't know if we are going to get to this one. The next book that I'm gonna read is from Book of the Month, and it is Killers of a Certain Age. I am torn about this one. So this one follows like a group of women who are on, I think it's like a cruise, and they used to be assassins, and now someone has sent assassins after them. So I think it sounds fun. It's like Golden Girls meets Alias, maybe, but it seems fun. This could be either a really fun read and I'm gonna love it, or I'm gonna find it really boring. So this is probably gonna fall either way. The next book that I'm gonna read is one that I'm really excited about, but I'm also keep putting off because I loved the first one so much that I'm scared to read this one because I just had an issue with romance books that I read. I love the Bringing Down the Duke. I loved the first two in that series, and then I just read Portrait of a Scotsman like 2 months ago, and I did not like it. So now I'm terrified that I'm not gonna like this one, but it is Love on the Brain, and I loved The Love Hypothesis so much, so I really want to like this one. Like, I want to like it so bad. So this one scares me. I really hope I enjoy it. And also, I love this cover. I love it. It's so beautiful. And the last book that I'm gonna read is a book that I keep putting off. I have a love-hate relationship with this series. Like, I feel like everybody does, but it is Court. This book stresses me out. Well, this series stresses me out. And it's really not this long. Like, they're like over 700 pages, but they're like spaced super wide, and there's a lot of blank like pages like that. So they're not really as long as they seem. My issue is the love triangle. It's like Twilight on steroids. I feel like it's more like Vampire Diaries. In Vampire Diaries, you have Stefan and Damon, who you like both of them. Like, obviously you have preferences, but they're both great. And then one brother is like the good brother, so you kind of want him to get the girl, but then there's Damon, who's like Damon, and then you're like, oh my gosh, he's not really bad, but he seems bad. And that's pretty much what this book is. You have one brother who gets the girl first and goes about business, and then stuff happens and the other brother comes into the situation. So it's just, and you love both of them. You love both of them. So I'm kind of hoping in this one she gives the rejected brother a romance to make me forget about the original romance. Because she didn't make them bad. She didn't pull a Sarah J. Maas where you hate. You know what character I'm talking about. You know what character I'm talking about. She didn't do that in this. Or like pretty much how they did in Twilight, where you kind of start hating Jacob because he's toxic AF. That doesn't happen in this. Like, there's a little bit of toxicity, but not that much. Not enough to be like, oh, I hate him. So I need a romance. I need a romance for the other brother so that I feel better about myself. Because it makes me sad. It makes me sad because I really, really liked the first book and the romance in the first book. So this one I just keep putting off because it stresses me out. But anyway, that is my TBR. I'm very excited. So my guess is for 5 stars. Last time I did like an order, but we're just gonna do 5 stars. I think Love on the Brain is gonna be a 5-star. I think Court is gonna be a 5-star because I'm trash. I just am. I'm trash for vampire books. I don't know what it is. And I think that All of Our Demise is gonna be a 5-star. So I think I'm gonna have a lot of 5 stars this month. Like, I'm really excited about it and really nervous, but this is what I'm hoping for. I don't think any of these are gonna be 1 stars. I just don't. I think this is gonna be a really good reading month. I'm really nervous about it because I feel like I picked some really, really good books, and I'm really excited to get into them, and I'm gonna try to read all of them. I had an issue last month with reading all the books that I picked on my TBR, but I'm trying to get better. I'm planning on reading all of them. Let's hope we stick to that. But anyway, that was my TBR for September. If you have read any of the books, let me know what you guys think about them. No spoilers, please. As usual, save those for the wrap up. I am so excited to read in September. So excited for videos I have coming out. Obviously, I'm going to do reviews on some of the books that I read. There's not a ton in here that I would do reviews on. Probably this one as a follow-up to my previous review. Probably this one. I probably won't do one for Court. That'll just be in my wrap-up. And maybe From Below by Darcy Coates if like something really crazy happens. But other than that, I don't have a ton of reviews for this one. But yeah, that was my September TBR, and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming out. I've got some book reviews. We've got some fun reading vlogs. I'm gonna try to do reading vlogs this month. It's kind of like I want to do more reading vlogs this month, but we'll see. And like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.